Alright, so we just heard from the great William Friedkin about his take on Citizen Kane, watching it over 200 times, noticing new things each time. You don't have to watch it 200 times. But you might want to in your lifetime. You never know. Not only is this film breathtakingly innovative with its technology, especially for 1941, it's also amazing in its narration and storytelling. Roger Ebert, who I already mentioned, once said that a story is never about what it's about, it's only how it's about what it's about. And this is very much an example of that idea. This is the story of one man's life, Charles Foster Kane, who was born into a very modest home in Colorado, whose mother owned a boarding house. There was somebody who lived there for a bit, didn't have money to pay their bill, signed over a little piece of land in Colorado. That land turned out to have one of the biggest loads of minerals to be found in the United States, making Charles Foster Kane an instant millionaire. He's taken away from his family at that point and goes to live with a surrogate who's meant to educate him. Now, this is the story of his life, and it's told only through other people's ideas about him. So imagine somebody telling the story of your life, not you telling it, but of your parents telling about you, of your friends, of your coworkers, of people you met along the way. We're going to see different perspectives on the life of Charles Foster Kane. We only get one moment where we see his own perspective, what he might be going through. Not something that's retold to us, but something that he might be going through. And that's the moment of his death. Besides that, that's all we get. We're going to start with that moment. We see him die immediately, which is a really brave choice for a filmmaker to make. And then we're going to go directly into something you would have seen going to the movies back. Sorry about my dog. She is really something. We're gonna see something that was done oftentimes in films back in the day, which was showing news clips, news footage. Orson Welles wraps that into this movie. So the first part that we get of the movie is actually seeing Charles Foster Kane's life as the news media saw it, which is really quite something. It follows right here this line of information. What Orson Welles does in this 15-minute little news segment is actually give us every single plot point in the whole film. The rest is just filling in the gaps. Now, besides the news on the march, we get his surrogate, the man who raised him basically when he left his home in Colorado. We get his business best friend, Bernstein. We get the perspective of his emotional and personal best friend, Leland. We get the perspective of his mistress, Susan. And finally, we get the perspective of his butler. Throughout all this, we have a whole other perspective that's revealed, and that's of reporters trying to find out what his final last words meant. The thing he said right before he died. And this thing is really one of the most famous Macguffins of any film. A Macguffin is something that's revealed in a film that kind of you want to find out what it means going through the whole film. If you ever saw, not Reservoir Dogs, but Pulp Fiction, there's that whole idea of what's in the case. Every time they open it up, there's this gold hue that comes out. What is in that case? This one, of course, is Rosebud. If you don't know what Rosebud is, try to maintain the secrecy to the end. It's really valuable. But the reporters are trying to find out what those final words meant, and they're talking to all these people. And as they talk to all these people, we follow those reporters, and we get to see what they find out, if they find out anything. So that's a little bit about the film. In terms of the camera techniques, we want to watch for these things. First of all, there's wonderful camera movement in this film. It's 1941, so we're not talking steady cams or anything. This is on a track moving, or on a crane moving the camera through space. But there's some amazing shots. Mise en scène. Each frame is loaded with information. I can't express that enough in this movie. Enjoy it. Montage. Montage is linking together shots over a period of time, and we as an audience know intuitively that those shots equal that amount of time. And so this is, you've seen montages done completely in other films. This is one of the first incidences of using montage, and there's a famous one that expresses a marriage at a dining room table over a series of maybe 10 or 12 shots. Now our minds can put that together, that those 10 or 12 shots didn't happen right after one another, that time played into these different shots, but watch out for montage. Parallelism. There are a number of repeated storyline points and elements that happen in this movie. They build up. Watch for them. There's some real wonderful shot cuts. One with a bird towards the end of the film that I absolutely swear was put in because Orson Welles knew film students were going to be forced to watch this movie and they needed to wake up for the final moments. So watch for those. There's lightning one too. He's really a wonderful editor. And then finally, high angle and low angle shots. There's some really amazing ones. There's some of them are actually where they put the camera into the floor pointing up at characters. It creates some interesting moments. You might remember some of that from the video lectures we had. For the narration, we're looking at who the narrators are and what different Kanes we get. The Bernstein Kane is different from the Leland Kane, is different from the Susan Kane. What is the mystery? What are the reporters really looking for in those words, Rosebud? And finally, time and home motifs. There are a number of them. Repeated elements and symbols in the story. So that's what I want you to watch out for as you're reviewing this film. Now there's a few questions for you that I want you to answer after you've watched it. There's a little bit of reading to do, not too much. And then there's a discussion assignment that asks you to go back to that Film Still website and take a look at some of the film stills from Citizen Kane and pick one out to discuss. That's what I got for you for Citizen Kane. I wish we were watching this in Jewett Hall on the big screen, but you can watch it at home at your convenience. Again, there's another video lecture about how to get to Swank. I'm going to apologize for the last time for my whining dog through these videos. I'm sorry, but all the best to you this week. I hope you enjoy our first full-length feature film, Citizen Kane. Take care.